A woman called out Black women's nails and lashes in corporate America. Two other women clapped back, bragging about their degrees. But here's what nobody's pointing out. One of these women is a rising class, and she knows it. The other is a capping class, and she has no idea.
I am probably going to get some unfollows, some nasty comments, and be canceled for saying this, but someone's got to say it, and I guess it's got to be me. I'm Ashley Seals. I've worked in communications, public relations, marketing, events, fundraising, you name it. I've done it for almost 2 decades now. And I have to say this to my ladies in corporate America. Your 3-inch baby blue, hot pink, tie-dye, gemstone glittery nails are holding you back in the workplace. When you're in a room full of executives and decision makers, they don't see you. They don't see your personality. They don't see or hear what's coming out of your mouth. All they can concentrate on is what your nails look like. Super colorful nails that have a lot going on. While they might be fun, they might be festive, they might show your personality, they actually are a big distraction for a lot of people. And unfortunately, in corporate America, colorful nails are often associated with low performance, with chaos, and with not being equipped with the social cues and the etiquette to perform in a corporate, especially conservative environment. Please take it from me. Stick to something very neutral, very classy, very elegant. I personally like to do kind of a light pink ombre. And I have to say it again, this is not my personal opinion, but it's the opinion of traditional corporate America. I'm just trying to help you guys out from one sister to another. So take it or leave it. It's up to you.
This is for any woman trying to move up in corporate America who's never actually checked whether the room respects her or just hasn't said anything to her face yet. You can have a degree, impressive resume, and a seat in the meeting and still be confusing tolerance with respect. Those are not the same thing, and only one of them means you're actually rising. By the end of this video, you'll know the difference between a rising class woman who keeps testing and proving her growth and a capping class woman who assumes she's grown because nobody told her otherwise. Two women went online to defend their nails and their lashes by bragging about their degrees, but neither one could name a single contract they've actually closed sitting in those rooms. You walk into a room of decision makers, and they're already forming an opinion of you before you say one word. Think about a man walking into that boardroom with his entire face tatted, rings through his nose, ink covering his arms and hands. Most people in that room would hesitate to do a deal with him, not because they know his character, but because the extremeness raises a question they can't shake. If he's this committed to standing out, how committed is he to the actual work that needs to be done? That's not about tattoos being wrong. It's about what extremity signals in a room built on trust. The same question gets asked quietly about a woman with long, heavily decorated nails reaching for a keyboard. The room isn't thinking about her personality in that moment. They're thinking about whether she can move fast, handle the job, and whether the contract itself will get the same treatment the nails do. And it's not just the nails or the lashes, any one thing by itself. It's the message that too much of anything sends, that more attention has gone into how she looks than into how she works. Modesty isn't about hiding who you are. It's about understanding that too much of anything pulls attention away from what actually matters. And most people already know that, even outside of religious conviction. A woman in a sharp, single-breasted blazer and clean nails walks into the same room and the conversation goes straight to business. That's not because she's less of a woman or less impressive or less herself. It's because she's removed the question mark before anyone had a chance to raise it. The women defending their nails and lashes never once pointed to a closed deal. They pointed to a degree which proves you got hired, not that you've risen.
So hey y'all, hey, I was just scrolling on TikTok and I happened to come across the Discord.
What's the first thing that we look at when we're looking at this video? The first thing that captures your eyes is the nails. And I'm not telling you that you can't do what you want to do. I don't personally care for crazy nails, but people that I'm associated with, and it don't change the fact that I'm still going to associate myself with them, do. But it is noticeable for people, and if you might miss out on an opportunity, it just is what it is.
Of nail length and professionalism. And what really caught my eye, there was a comment on one of the videos that said most girls who wear long nails don't have a 9-to-5, they're uneducated, and they don't work in any sort of professional field. And I figured, hey, I could talk about that because I crush all three of those.
Well, you looking at it from your own anecdotal experience, but you just said it, most girls that wear those nails don't exist in those settings. It's just the truth. It's just the facts.
I have a 9-to-5. I'm extremely educated. Okay, degreed, extremely educated. And then also I work in one of the most professional fields there is. Nail length has nothing to do with what is up here.
Let me tell you something, bro. Everything that comes along with being more successful, and I'm talking about elevating all the way up into the executive suites, you are not. I promise you. Go and find me one in a large Fortune 500, Fortune 100, Fortune 1000 company. Go and find a woman that is a part of the executive team that have crazy nails. Go and find one. Show me one, and then I'll come back and I'll actually say, you know what, you were right. It's not a thing. I don't know what just because you got a degree, just because you work in these particular fields, does not mean that you have upward mobility. A lot of times you are actually limiting yourself when it comes to your upward mobility.
A lot of people think a degree or a title is enough proof that they belong in those rooms. But none of that tells you whether they're closing deals or just attending meetings. A capping class woman confuses tolerance with respect, and she has no way of knowing the difference because she's never tested it. Results are harder to fake. Credentials sound impressive without requiring any specifics. You can say, I have a 9-to-5, and that tells me you have a job. You can say, I'm degreed, and that tells me you finished school. Neither one tells me you closed a deal, signed a client, or got handed a bigger opportunity because someone in that room trusted you with it. Look at the two women clapping back. Both mentioned their education and their job title. Neither one mentioned a deal they closed. Compare that to the other woman in that conversation who says she owns a multi-million-dollar firm and travels the world doing the work. She didn't lead with her degree. She led with what the degree actually produced. That's a rising class woman. She's coming up. She has receipts, not just a title.
All right, I want to do this really quickly. Today's the last day of the conference and I'm headed out. But I wanted to address some questions that I get. And I get them pretty regularly, but something came up and I was like, okay, I'm going to address this for everyone who is concerned that when they move into a professional space, they will have to lose their identity. That's not true. So a lot of people ask me about my nails and how my nails are received in court. And I always respond with, nobody cares. When I walk into the courtroom, judges, a lot of times the first thing they say are, Miss Wright, let me see your nails. Or let me take a picture so I can send to my daughter. They use them as inspo. My clients love them. Opposing counsel loves them. They've not stopped me from doing anything. I want everybody to know and understand that I own a multi-million-dollar law firm. I own a multi-million-dollar award-winning law firm. I am an award-winning attorney. I am an international custody expert, which means that I travel the world educating practitioners on the nuances of custody in their independent jurisdictions. I am leaving this conference to go to New York to speak at a school on the impact of custody decisions on the prison pipeline. I am much sought after. I am very intelligent. I got here by the grace of the Lord. I continue here by the grace of the Lord. And I am not trying to fit into anyone's standard, because although I am a highly successful attorney, I am still a black girl from Atlanta.
When someone gives you feedback about how you showed up professionally, you have two options. Let it land or get defensive. A capping class woman. When I'm talking about capping, I'm talking about she's got a limit. She's just going so far. Rising class woman has no limitation. The capping class woman, she's already capped herself by her mindset. A capping class woman almost always picks the second option, defensiveness. And it costs her the one thing that could have moved her forward. Feedback only hurts you if you let it stop you from growing. Defensiveness guarantees you stay exactly where you are. In that video, the response wasn't, here's what I've actually closed. It was a list of insults and a list of credentials. That's not a defense, family. That's a woman protecting a feeling she never verified. And here's what's interesting. The speed of the pushback tells you something too. Someone who's secure in her position doesn't need to respond fast or loud. She can sit with a piece of advice, even one she disagrees with, and ask herself honestly if there's anything to it. A woman who reacts immediately before she even had time to think it through is usually protecting something she hasn't looked at closely herself. A rising class woman hears criticism and checks her ceiling. A capping class woman hears criticism and defends a ceiling she's never measured. I want to say this to the ladies in our community. As a community that wants the best for our young women and our professionals, it's wise to take the advice of a woman who's encouraging you to rise, not the advice of women who aren't willing to examine their own position or even reflect on how they're representing themselves. The real question isn't whether you can do your nails, your lashes, or your hair any way you want. It is whether you've ever actually checked if the room respects you, or you've just assumed it because nobody said otherwise. If this gave you something to think about, like the video, share it with a woman who needs to hear it, and leave a thoughtful comment below. I want to know 3 things. Do you think the first woman was right? And have you experienced this yourself? Or do you think the other 2 women were right and appearance really doesn't affect how far you rise? And here's the 3rd one. If your boss or someone you had a contract with came to you and offered advice on how to rise, would you take it, or would you push back the way these women push back against another woman trying to lift up the sisterhood? Clips and videos related to this topic are linked in the description. I'm Deborah, and this is Family Still Matters. Because how we carry ourselves, how we receive correction, and how we rise are all part of understanding God's purpose for our lives. May God continue to richly bless you. God bless.